This particular topic, it falls a little bit out of our purview. I am no expert on professional wrestling. I generally like to keep topics sports related. Professional wrestling is not a sport. They can call it sports entertainment all they want, but just because wrestlers are athletic, it does not make them professional athletes. They are entertainers, they're performers. I don't even like calling WWE professional wrestling anymore. Professional wrestling is what I grew up watching in the 90s. The shit Vince McMahon is producing today is just that shit. It is garbage. It's beneficial to a lot of people here on YouTube, though. There are a lot of guys here on YouTube that make good money trashing WWE. They probably want WWE to stay shitty. If it were good again, they would be out of business. The main problem in WWE today, they don't have any stars. When is the last time Vince McMahon created a star that crossed over into the mainstream? This dude had the ability to create stars back in the 80s and 90s. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Steve Austin, The Rock. Back then, people who didn't watch wrestling, they knew who those guys were. Now you fast forward to 2021, can you name an active WWE performer? Can you name one? There is an announcer on WWE broadcasts named Corey Graves. His real name is Matthew Polinsky. He is engaged to another wrestler in the company named Carmella. I Googled a picture of this Carmella chick. I understand why Corey Graves proposed to her, why he wants to marry her. I would have done the same thing. Go Google a picture of Carmella. You guys would want to lock her down too. So, Carmella is an active WWE performer. Corey Graves is the guy behind the desk calling the action on TV. I mentioned their private relationship because it's important to the context of this story. The other night, Carmella was in a match. Corey Graves is calling it. Now, I'm assuming by the reaction from this social justice warrior on Twitter that Corey Graves commented on Carmella's appearance at some point. If I had to guess, he was talking about how hot she is. I'm sure, I am positive, that he was painting her in a positive light. As you guys know, that doesn't matter to social justice warriors. All that matters is the evil white man commenting on the physical appearance of a woman. Corey Graves' commentary about his fiance triggered Alyssa Marino, a future inductee into the Loser Hall of Fame. I did a little bit of research on Alyssa Marino. She actually used to work for the WWE as an announcer. Obviously, they thought she was useless. They fired her in April of 2020. Alyssa Marino doesn't think she's useless, though. She believes she knows what it takes to be an efficient WWE broadcaster, even though the company fired her. Check out her reaction to Corey Graves' commentary about his fiance. Quote, when an announce team can't focus on a match and is constantly commenting on the physical appearance of competitors, especially when it's a woman in the ring, it is time to find professional broadcasters who can tell the story without being distracted by the athletes. I don't often share my take on things, but I work hard to prepare myself as a broadcaster. I have studied how great commentary teams can elevate matches, but it's really grating to hear announcers get lost in how attractive they think competitors are in the midst of a match. End quote. First of all, WWE wrestlers are not athletes. They are performers, actors. Now, I'm not taking anything away from their athleticism, but WWE is not a sport, it's a performance. One of my problems with people who follow the WWE, and I'm not talking about children here, I'm talking about adults. But one of my problems, they take this shit way too seriously. They think it's real. I hate to crush the dreams of Alyssa Marino, but what you see on WWE television is fake. It's a performance. Corey Graves is playing a character. That is not Matthew Polinsky speaking behind the microphone. It's Corey Graves, a fictional character. I know that's hard to believe for someone like Alyssa Marino, who spends her Monday nights picking boogers on her couch watching fake wrestling, but that's the truth. Alyssa Marino said she doesn't often share her take on things. I'll give her some free advice. Don't. If your perception of reality is this fucked up, I suggest you don't share your take on anything else because you make yourself look like a dumbass. Another thing I don't like about this, if you're going to call out someone, call them out, name them. Don't be a coward about it. If you've got a problem with Corey Graves, call him out. Just like Corey Graves did to Alyssa Marino. He responded to her bullshit and he sent the wrestling virgins on Twitter into cardiac arrest. Corey Graves suggested if Melissa Marino can't differentiate between fantasy and reality, she should find a different line of work. He suggested the business of WWE is not for her, and he is absolutely right. If you're an adult and you don't understand that people on WWE television are actors playing a role, then you don't belong in the business. Some blue check mark on Twitter named Norman Q. He took offense to what Corey Graves said. Norman Q clearly paid for his blue check mark. Dude has less than 1,200 followers on Twitter. He wanted that blue check mark for his self-esteem. Look at me, I am verified on Twitter. No one gives a shit. I checked this Norman Q out. His name is Norman Corentin or Corentin. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Norman Corentin. According to his Twitter bio, he writes about people in spandex for wrestling chic. Those are his words, not mine. He probably catches a boner watching dudes in spandex, but, to each his own. Judging by his pictures, this dude has never touched a woman in his life, and I'm not counting the inflatable woman in his closet. Virgin Norman got triggered by Corey Graves. He got all in his emotions. He was mad because Corey Graves had the audacity to tell a woman she's in the wrong line of work. Woke bullshit is when a man on television tells a female wrestling reporter she's in the wrong line of work. No, Norman, that is the opposite of woke bullshit. Woke bullshit is when a virgin like yourself takes up for a woman who believes wrestling is real. Corey Graves didn't attack Alyssa Marino unprovoked. He responded to her attacking him. But because she's a woman and Corey Graves is an evil white man, Alyssa Marino is off limits, according to the logic of social justice warriors. Now, she can criticize Corey Graves all she wants, but he is not allowed to respond. Good for him, though. Good for Corey Graves for calling out this bullshit. Good thing Alyssa Marino and these other wrestling social justice warriors, good thing they were not around in the late 90s. Back then, the women in the WWF were damn near naked on television. Jerry Lawler was constantly talking about their tits. Now, that would not be allowed today. They would call that misogyny. How dare a man compliment a woman on her physical appearance? That is sexual harassment. Let me know what you guys think about Alyssa Marino calling out Corey Graves without naming him for complimenting the woman that he is trying to marry. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.